Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Showers Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we are talking about 10 more games we played on Board Game Arena and kind of our quick thoughts, quick first impressions, or whatever, quick review. And yeah, I think for all of these, for maybe most of them, we will have first impressions. They're either already up or they will be coming at some point, and then some might have try before you buy videos where we walk through a pretty much a playthrough of a game on Board Game Arena to try it before we buy it, a physical copy of the game, and whether or not we think that implementation is good. I don't know that we did that for all of these, so if you see any of these that you're really interested in and would like to see a playthrough of, let us know, and we would be happy to do that. Otherwise, we will just be going with the first impressions. So, yeah. We will get right into this first one here, which is Logic, which is actually like three different types of logic puzzles that are kind of similar in what they're doing, but a little bit different too. You got what was it, Birds, Jungle, and Hotel, I think are the names of them. I don't know if there's physical copies of these out there. It looks like there's boxes over the side there, but I don't know that I've ever actually seen these.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is very much logic puzzles. So whether or not you consider that like a board game, I would say these are a bit of a stretch. I think this is maybe more of just solving logic puzzles. So it's a similar activity, but I don't know that I would say it quite that it's maybe board games. But I have really enjoyed it. It's become kind of our go-to like kind of quick thing to do
Yeah.
if we don't have much time or in between other things. And we've actually done the daily challenge that
Yeah.
they have. You can do those and see how you score compared to other people that have done the daily challenge. So I will
And other people who cheat, I'm pretty sure, because there is no way they're getting
some
it in like
incredible
8 seconds.
times. Insane times like even if you immediately knew what the answer was, like clicking and stuff takes time, so I don't know, they must have some way of doing
Unless
doing
you're
it pretty
secret,
well. Yeah,
please.
tell us your secrets if you're watching this below and you are one of those people getting this in 8 seconds. Let me know. Let us know what you do to do that. But yeah, I like this one quite a bit. But yeah, whether or not you consider it a board game, uh, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a fun activity. Don't know if it is a game, so I think it's going to be really hard to rank with these ones. I think we're going to kind of slot them into placement. So like, oh, go to the next one. We'll say whether we like it more or less than Logic. But right now, it's number one of the
it is
ones
number
we
one
are
on the
looking at.
list.
It's a fun activity. Keeps the brain sharp, or just frustrates it so much sometimes. But yeah, if you don't like logic puzzles, like, oh, this is next to this, not next to this, so figure out what places they are. If you don't like that, then it's probably not going to be that fun for you.
You know,
And on to another one, another small game. Got a few small games to start off here. This is Splitter, a roll and write game. So you roll two dice, you have a grid of spaces, and it's split down the middle, the grid of spaces, and it's identical. It's
it's
mirrored.
splittered down the middle, Pepper.
It's splittered down the middle. Yes, I didn't even think of that. And I say I have logic. And you roll the two dice, you choose one, and you put it in a spot on one of the sides, and the other result is mirrored on the flip side, on the other side of the board. So it's really cool to kind of build out both these halves and be like, okay, I need this over here. And it's like, well, I need that over there, sure, and I rolled it, but the flip side is going to put something I don't want on the other side. And sometimes it's perfect, and you get the exact ones you want, but other times you're going to have to make sacrifices. I mean, you probably could get a perfect game in this, but it's all down to the roll of the dice, the luck there, and it's a very quick game, and you just play it again and again and again each time. I don't think I've ever played it just once. It's just very addicting and. It's fun to go with it and see what you can roll. Sometimes you can roll just a ton of high numbers and get the groups because you kind of want to score 6 points. You need a group of six sixes to score 4 points, a group of four fours. Um, Sometimes you're not even going to roll six sixes in the whole game. So you have no chance of getting that. And sometimes you might be able to get two sets. But you can't go over six because then you score nothing. You can't be less than six, then you score nothing. It's really cool game here. I think as a game, I think it probably might edge out Logic for me.
Yeah, I would agree. But they both fill that filler category for me of quick, especially on Board Game Arena, very quick game. That yeah, if you don't have much time, yeah. But it is just another roll and write. If you're like, oh, that's a tired genre. I think it feels like a classic roll and write, and it does interesting things, but at the end of the day, it does feel very roll and writey.
Yeah,
So if you don't
it's
like
not.
those, you're not gonna like it. But we maybe I'm speaking for Pepper, but I believe we all still really enjoy our verb and verb games.
Yes, we liked them before they were cool, and we're gonna continue to like them long after they're cool. But yeah, you're right. It does feel like a classic roll and write. It's not going for all these bonuses and chaining things. It's just here's the one mechanism we have. Just use it and have fun with it. It's not trying to be anything bigger or better than it is. And then we're gonna have its sibling game here, Knister, which I think same people, I assume. Let's see, I guess I don't know. Same company. No, it's not even the same designers, but the artist is the same, the company is the same, but
Mm.
different designers, but grouped together because we played them close to each other. They look identical in their presentation, their style, and very similarly, it is roll two dice. You have a grid of spaces, and in this one, you take the sum of the dice and you put it in one of the squares. So you'll have 25 turns in the game. And what you're trying to do is make rows and columns. You're going to score each one and the diagonals. The diagonals are double points. You're going to score in each one according to different poker hands. So two of a kind, three of a kind, four of a kind, two pair, full house, straights, different things like that. And it's another one where you have to make sacrifices. You're probably not, you could maybe get like a pair or something in all of the, or maybe two pair in all the rows and columns, but I like to go big, and you have to admit, I'm not going to get a straight in every single line, in every single column, so just try to prioritize maybe the diagonals, and maybe get a couple other big ones along the way, but after the first game, this one was significantly below Splitter for me. I was just like, this is just too much to think about. But on subsequent plays, I've grown to like this one quite a bit. Not as much as Splitter, but I could see this overtaking it someday.
Ooh. Yeah, I think currently I have Splitter above this one, but it's not by much. But I do personally like games that this isn't quite poker, but that is definitely the closest thing. That's what I would call it as well. And I love poker, and not many games like put like poker feeling stuff in them. I feel there have not been that many that do, and if they do, it's kind of like a side part in a Western themed game. So it's not usually the main piece. Outside of Flip Town does use it a little bit more. Still not quite fully there, and this one I think does a pretty solid job of giving that little bit of feel. But it's obviously a little bit different because yeah, it's not like face cards or anything. You're just creating,
Yeah,
numbers 2 to 12, but
yeah,
very similar feeling.
yep,
But yeah, I think still Splitter edges this one out for me just by a little bit.
yep.
But they're pretty close.
Oh boy, Orapa Mine. This is your baby here. This is the one that you were excited to play. So tell us about it.
It is, and we made a list early on the year of games we wanted to play on Board Game Arena. And if I had known anything about this game at that time when we made the list and this game was on there, I don't think either of those things were true. Because I think I learned about it only like a month or two ago when I think Mike DeLisio from the Dice Tower had brought it up. And, if you watch the Dice Tower, you watch Mike, he has these crazy games from other countries that no one's ever heard of. He's the only one that owns a copy. Knows the designer probably, has worked with the designer, who knows. Uh, he's kind of cool like that. But yeah, and then yeah, he said how good it was, and he was explaining it. And I'm like, That sounds pretty interesting. And then all of a sudden, I think the other, I don't know if none of them had played it, none of the other Dice Tower members had played it, but then I think they must have all played it, and then all of a sudden all these reviews were dropping from all of them, and they were all loving it. And I'm like, oh, this is getting me way too excited about this game that I already was pretty excited about, because it's another kind of logic game, but I would call this much more of a game than logic.
Yeah.
Just I don't know what it is about it, but it feels more
You're,
gamey. I
you're
don't know. Maybe it isn't, but it feels more gamey.
you're
And
taking turns. You're taking turns and doing
yeah,
actions versus just what's the answer, you know?
that's true. That's probably the part that makes it feel more gamey. But yeah, pretty much you see, you have a grid there, and you say, okay, what if I put, as Pepper liked to put it, a laser down through number one, or whatever. What if I put it through one, and where does it end up? And then it like comes out another letter or number spot with a certain color, and that means depending on what color it was, if it came out white, that would mean it only touched white shapes. If it came out red, that would mean it touched just the red shape. If it come out transparent, that means it likely didn't hit anything unless you're using there's an expansion one. Um, and yeah, so based on where it comes out too, it kind of bounced off of potentially corners and sides of these shapes that are out there, and your goal is to determine where those shapes are. So it kind of has a little bit of, I don't know, battleship is what I think of when I play or when I've played this, even though it's not quite battleship, it's not quite like that, but it's the closest thing I can think of. Like I'm thinking like, I don't know, sonar, um, waves going through, and
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, this one was a load of fun. It's pretty easily, I think, my number one of the ones we have so far. I, yeah, I've had a lot of fun with this one and hope to play it some more. Lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I agree. It's really fun to try to figure out what is going on um and just trying to get it figured out is really cool. And we actually got the one time ever we got gray, which is all the colors combined. So that means we shot it in, it hit off a yellow, hit off a white, hit off a red, hit off a blue, and just those kind of moments are pretty cool. And yeah, this is probably number one for me too. I think here, and I if we do a try before you buy playthrough, you'll see that it means a lot. It must be a good game if I'm giving it high rating because it can be a little frustrating to actually play the game on Board Game Arena with how you're slotting the tiles in there. It can
That's
be
true. It
a
is
little
still in
hard.
beta. They might
Still in
change it,
beta.
but I think they have said that because yeah, they're for some reason your big shapes are broken into smaller shapes, and I don't know why, and that is the frustrating
So you place it
part.
down and it jumps over to where you thought you were placing it, and then to move it over, it's now broken into four pieces. So then you have to drag each piece. And but hopefully they fix it. It is just beta, but right now that just shows even more how great the game is. That it's number one, being nearly unplayable. Um,
But yeah, it's
and
funny. So far, I would say it's four games that are filler games.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Can anything beat the filler? Can Botanicus beat the filler? Oh yeah, it's this game. I forgot it was this one. I was like, Botanicus, which one is that? The one with the tracks.
The one with the tracks on tracks on tracks, and yeah, I think I saw this one at a friendly local game store about the same time that I think I saw it on here, and I'm like, oh, I really like the look of that cover. It's great artwork. Um, sounds like sounds like an interesting name, but at the same time, like there are a lot of these nature kind of feeling games out there, so I should probably try it on Board Game Arena first to see if it's worth getting a copy in my collection. A try before you buy, you might say. And yeah, we played this one, and you can see maybe on that little board there, it's kind of a there's kind of three tracks that you're potentially going up, and then on the bottom of the board, it's kind of some action selection in a way with a I don't know what it's called, but kind of the worst. Whoever takes the worst action from a previous time kind of gets to pick first the next time. I don't remember what that's called,
Like a King
but
Domino type of
the King
drafting.
Domino.
Yeah, that's what it's called. That's in the
uh,
dictionary.
but yeah, you're kind of taking those actions. You're going across that entire board, so you get so many, however many actions there are there. You do that kind of two times. You don't see a player board on there currently, but you are You have a little farmer guy, and he can kind of farm the 4 plots that are around him, and you're moving him around the whole thing. You're trying to create certain patterns in the different rows based on kind of the scoring conditions every individual has on the side of their board, and yeah, and then by the end, you're trying to also fill in columns and have at least one level 4 in each one to kind of maximize points. Pepper pretty much pulled it off crazily, did a pretty good job, I would say. Whooped me pretty badly, but overall, I liked what it did. I think it had a few unique pieces to it that maybe step it up a little bit above maybe my I would say my average rating on things is usually like a 7, so it's probably about a little above that. 7 for a game that I'm like willing to play. Might not always like offer, but if someone else did, I want to play. This one I might want to go back to every now and then, so it's probably just a little bit above that.
Mhm.
And I'd probably put this above Orapa Mine. I think maybe. It's
You'd put
close.
it
It's
you'd
close.
put
It
it
might be
number
number two.
one. You'd put it number one so far. So Arapa mine ain't even maybe not even an 8.
It might
We
be.
get first impressions. I think mine was pretty high.
That's true. It might actually be higher. This one might be a 2. This one might be number
No.
2 so far.
Okay, this is my number one. I shamed you. No, it is not my. It is not my number one, but
Even though you whooped me that
it,
badly,
it might be
usually
my
that
number
means it
two.
gets at least 2 more
It might
points.
be my number two. You are definitely the heavier gamer of us two, not only in weight. And I ended up, I thought there's no way that I'm going to be able to fill this whole board with this worker, this farmer, move him around. But then by the end, like you said, it just kind of all worked out. Filled all those columns and completed a lot of the objectives on the right side, which is really cool that they're kind of ordered. You have a smaller one and then a bigger one to the right. So, and you can choose at the start the ones on the right, how they could maybe kind of synergize and work with the first objective because the stuff that you place there carries over. So if this takes 3 level 2s or something, or 1 level 2, 2 level 2s, and then the second one takes 3 level 2s, that'd be a really good combo to work together because you've already kind of completed some of them by the time you get to that second one. And I thought that was such a satisfying part of it. Moving along the tracks with that King Domino drafting, you can try to plan way in the future, but at the same time, it's really easy to just be like, okay, here's what I want, maybe the next 2 turns, and it just gives you a focus for me, where sometimes these games can be like, okay, I don't really want to think too far ahead. There's way too much going on. This one worked for me. So, yeah. Go check out our first impressions. I don't
So where
remember
did
what
where
I
did
gave it.
where did this one
I
rank then
think
for you?
I think I'll put it second. I'll put it right
Okay.
behind Arapa. But yeah, more plays, it could go up. Or it could go down, down, down. And be right next to Mythicals.
Ooh, I thought this one at first when I was looking into this one, I was like, oh boy, this could definitely be a big time Pepper game. Just because it has some. It immediately made me think of Conspiracy. If you've ever played that game is also on Board Game Arena. If you want to try that one out, we both highly recommend it. I think that might be one of our games that we have games we champion possibly for. I don't know if we made that video or not, but it is one that we champion. This one, you're doing kind of a similar thing where you're drawing 3 cards off the top. Well, you're either drawing cards off the top of the deck and keeping all of one color, which is where it differs. It starts to differ, obviously, but that drawing of the 3 cards makes me think of it. And then you kind of gain all those cards to your hand, and you are trying to make kind of runs of these kind of 4 different colors. Is it? Yes. And yeah, and then you can score them once you get so many in a row. And but if you wait longer, try to push your luck, so to say, you can maybe get up to, all 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can score kind of the max amount of points that there are to offer. But if your opponent was also happening to go for that and they got it before you, they could take that, but you could still get probably the second, 4 of a kind then and turn them in. But some things that kind of differentiate this one is if you already have a card. So if you already had a 3 purple, but maybe you also had a 1 purple, and then you draw a 2, 3, 4 purple. Well, you've already got the three purple, so then you can't have two of the same, and your opponent immediately gets it. This is a two-player only game. So there's that little twist of sometimes you might end up giving your opponent kind of a free card, which it seems pretty big in this game if you do that, because you're making them not even have to spend a turn to do it. But sometimes you might have to. I think there are times where you would want to do that, depending on what's available. Uh, but yeah, and then you just kind of keep going back and forth until you get to the end of the game, which is triggered by a sun card,
Yep.
which is definitely Ethnos style, but there's only one of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if I explained that the greatest, but you can kind of take all the cards from a certain color as well instead of drawing the three. So any colors you don't take go to the other kind of. If
Yeah.
you've ever played Conspiracy, they kind of go in a color set, and you usually can take sets of colors that way. But in this case, they would go to a color set, and then your opponent could choose to take that instead of drawing from the top if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, that's a fun little back and forth. There's definitely a luck factor to this as to what you are drawing. If you happen to get the perfect cards like I did during our play of this, it can definitely affect the outcome. Because you might just be able to snag, because, yeah, you can do that, and then you still get to choose if you want to score something every turn. So it's not like one or the other, which I like that you can take cards and then still score using those cards that you just gained that turn. So that is a cool thing. But I think there's maybe a little bit too much luck factor in this one for me. This one might be, ooh, out of all of them, would it fall to the bottom? These are all pretty solid so far,
Yeah.
so that it sounds bad, but it really isn't that low if it is, because I actually really enjoy all of these games that we've talked about so far. So it might be at the bottom, but it kind of just depends what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think I would say this is probably last for me right now, and that's with a big Thunderbolts asterisk next to it. I kept building. I tried to get the big sets of the things, and I got one of them, but I just kept building. And I ended up only fulfilling like two of the of the sets, and one of them I think was only 2 points, and then the one was the big one. So you think, what was I even doing all game? And absolutely nothing, apparently. And you had like 5 or 6 or 7 things fulfilled, and it's pretty crazy. So I think that's a bit of an outlier game, a learning game. Because I do really love those mechanisms, love conspiracy. I love what you do in this one, the ideas of it at least. But didn't have a great first experience, but I could see it climbing up with more plays for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think this one we definitely need to play more to get a good feel of it. And it looks like I haven't seen a physical copy of this, but I feel like the artwork could be pretty solid in the cards
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff. So
yes, yeah. I agree. I agree. Ooh, the potions, not the, just potions of Azerland. Also great artwork.
yeah, obviously with the Bosley Bosley, Andrew Bosley, I think Andrew Bosley.
I
Pepper has
think I
confused me
may
forever. Pepper has
maybe have.
confused me forever. But yeah, this one is another one on the heavier side. You can kind of see from the play time on these if they're in the kind of 50-minute range, they're going to be a little bit on the heavier side. So we got out of those light filler games and we're into all the meat now. And this one is maybe the meatiest of the bunch. I don't know. But yeah, you are taking kind of a very systematical approach to this one of kind of producing resources, turning those resources into potions, and fulfilling contracts with those potions. But there's a twist! If you don't want to use those to fulfill contracts, well, or fulfill people's wants, I think they're looking for specific potions, and then they kind of give you benefits. Uh, I call that contract fulfillment because you are fulfilling a contract. But if you don't want to use your potions to do that, on the following round, at the start of the round, if you want to, you can drink your potions, and you have kind of your player board, and I think there's 3 levels on, so there's 3 different colors of potions, and each one of those has 3 different levels of, depending on if you've raised that up or not. You can take any one of those actions, kind of, they're all getting stronger as you go along. And you can drink your potion and perform that action. And they're usually pretty powerful. They all felt really good. And yeah, I can't think of any games off the top of my head that use a mechanism where you are kind of producing resources in a way that you can the fulfilling contract part, very typical. But actually utilizing it yourself to do some other benefit just feels unique, and I think that's the big kind of hook in this game. And yeah, I really would like to see something like that in other games. Maybe there is, and it's just not as obvious. This one, it's very obvious, smacks you right in the face
I guess
with it. But
if it's like kind of getting a card like in a Garfield game or something, pay the resources to get a card. That card can do effects for you, but maybe also works towards set collection. But that's usually not one or the other. But this one, it
yeah,
is one or the other because you're spending it to fulfill the
yeah.
contract or spending it on yourself, which usually, yeah, it feels like a bad deal. I don't want to waste it on myself, but it's worth it and you want to. And it's tied into some cards give you income when you drink
When
a
you do drink,
potion.
yeah.
Uh, so it's, yeah, sometimes better. You had some amazing turns that you kind of earned multiple potions because of drinking a potion. So it's a really cool one. I don't really have anything negative to say about the mechanisms. I think the tile placement for the kind of setting out what power or kind of what bidding power you want to put to each of the five actions and whether you want to compete in them at all or just sacrifice that action to get coin.
Makes me think of Gutenberg a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit,
that's true.
tiny bit
That's true.
for the
Um,
bidding.
yeah, a little bit of that, and how you're kind of competing against the opponent, and I guess that's a little Nidavellir where you can kind of. In this one, there's a lot more
Oh
time
yeah.
than Nidavellir, where there's kind of a tie break. So sometimes in the game, you're like, okay, there's a good chance we might tie here, and when you tie, the tie break goes kind of back and forth. So that worked in my favor one of the times because I'm like. I think he's going to place a high number here, and I'm going to need the tie break in my favor later. So I'm going to try to match him here so that I get the tie break later, and it worked perfectly. So yeah, a lot of good stuff, very satisfying. Get to do a lot in the rounds, but there are a lot of rounds, and
Speaking of rounds,
I think it's at least one round. It feels one round too long. I'm sure they made the rules and the points and everything makes sense, but just the feeling, kind of with two rounds to play, I was like, feels like a lot left. I feel like I have a good idea of what I'm doing. I kind of was starting from zero. I ended up being, I guess, efficient, but maybe not as productive as you were. You had a lot of leftover stuff going from round to round, but I was kind of starting from scratch every time, so it really felt repetitive, kind of what I was doing. But it was good stuff I was doing. So this is probably it's not top with Arapa, not as good as Botanicus. It's ooh, let's split Splitter and Knister. Let's put it right between those two. Um,
yeah, I'll
hard to
probably
place.
put it right before that myself, right before those two.
A little better
Uh,
than those.
so yeah, just a little bit better, but I 100% agree. I think yeah, I was thinking it, and then I think you said it out loud. You're like, oh boy, this feels like oh we got this many rounds left. I was thinking it after the second round. I'm like, this is gonna feel like a long time. I think because we're doing very similar things, but yeah, all those things were smooth. Like in
Yeah,
a game where it wasn't this kind of clear and smooth, it could really hamper it. I think if it
yeah,
wasn't kind of flowing nicely. Um, but yeah, that does still hurt it. There, I feel like that hasn't been a problem in too many games I've played lately, but it was a little bit noticeable in this one that it
yeah,
felt around too long.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe that's just our playing. Maybe we were just very slow.
That's true.
Could be. We've been
Yeah,
known to do that before.
never. Oh, boy. Sea salt and paper. Boy, this one came out of nowhere. It is a Bruno Catala game with someone else, but I know Bruno Catala. I see that and I'm like, oh. Sea Salt and Papers from Bruno Catala. Why have we not played this game?
It's
Uh,
all people play on Board Game Arena, Pepper. It's all they play.
that's true. That's true. Everyone wants sea salt and paper.
It was hilarious. You can see the little chat sometimes on the bottom right if you're on Board Game Arena of like it's like a public chat, and I think we had just like played it. It was either that day or the day before for the first time we'd ever played it, and someone had commented something about looking for people to play a certain game, and then they like immediately after that I think commented, "All people play on here is sea salt and paper" or something like that. I'm like, wow, now we're some of all those people. We finally sold out to the
Sold
sea
out.
salt and paper crew.
And I'd say once you get a taste of the salt, it is all that you want. This has quickly become one of my favorite games on here. I guess yeah. What's number one? Arapa. It's right up there with that. I don't know. It might beat it. It might. Ah, that's like a tie. That's a tie right there. But this one you just draw cards, or draw from a discard. You have a couple discard piles, or you draw two cards, take one, put one on the discard. And you have it in your hand. You can play sets of the same cards, and they kind of have effects that can let you draw additional cards, possibly take a card from an opponent. And when you create sets, whether they're still in your hand, or whether they're played out for everyone to see, you collect points. And once you have 7 points from your cards combined, visible to opponents and still in your hand, you can choose to end the game. You can choose to just say everybody
And the
score,
round.
end the round. Yes, because the game is multiple rounds trying to get to 40 points. You can just say everybody score what you got. Friendly, just get what you earned. Or if you think you have your opponent beat, you can challenge him and you can say, I have at least 7 points here. I have 8 points. I don't think you can beat that. And then they get one more turn. And if they can't beat it, you were right. And then you score your points plus bonus points, one per color, one per card in the one you have most of a color. But if you're wrong, then you only score your color points, and the opponent still scores as regular. And also, if you were right, then they only score their color points. So it's a lot of push your luck in this game,
Mhm.
and a lot of different types of cards, a lot of different strategies. The expansions are here. They make it really fun. I don't know if I'd ever play without them. This one just came out of nowhere, knocked it out of the park. This could be one of the top games of the year for me. Um, yeah, is it number one? It might be number one so far here of this set.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Pepper. I was originally, I think after our first game of it, I was like, okay, I mean, it was good. I liked what it was doing, but I wasn't sure like long term. And then I think we played another game or two of it, and I was like, okay, I think this is even better than maybe I gave it credit for, and I've enjoyed my plays of this quite a bit. And yeah, this one might be number one for me as well, if not number two. It is right up there. I've enjoyed my plays of it a lot. Now I'm one of those people that commenter really did not like. I've fallen victim to the game, but it's a very solid game. And if you have not tried it, I would recommend at least trying it out. You
Yeah,
might not love it, but I think it's a solid game to try out and doesn't take very long at all.
yeah, I agree. And then we get to like really recent games we played. These have been past like a week or two. But these are just yesterday or the other day. We played The Rats of Wistar. You had mentioned it to me a couple times, so I'm like, okay, let's finally play this game. It's a worker placement game with a wheel that rotates and changes the actions which where each round. I'm like, that just seems to be such a popular thing nowadays. But kind of placing workers there, and the worker you place doesn't add value to the action, but there's 6 actions, and for I think 2 are grouped into each kind of section of the board. You got a farm, the forest, the mines or whatever, ruins, And each of those areas, forest or whatever, you can put meeples into that you'll unlock more throughout the game as you get more to your family, and they are the things that add the value to the actions that you're taking in the corresponding area. And the actions do a bunch of different things from buying cards, getting resources, exploring a big house to unlock achievements, gain visitors. Just a lot of cool stuff going on. And I will say, you outplayed me pretty good here. I was having a tough time, and you had a great thing going, a great engine going, but I still really enjoyed it. I love the mechanisms of this game.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. I still leave it like after the game. I was thinking like, should the one that you're placing should it have one power or should it not? And I'm like, but that makes you think about it because you can still you just won't activate that part of the action, but you kind of activate the bonus part of the action. So it's like, yeah, you got to kind of at least then think about it. Sometimes, very rarely, you'll probably take it even if you don't have any mice in there. So it does make you think about it a little bit more. So I'm like, it's probably right that that doesn't add a power, but I don't know if it would have been terrible if it did. Um, but yeah, by the end of the game, you probably have at least one in each one. So, and you might not need to power it up quite as much as you maybe did originally, because yeah, you start getting cards that maybe give you some bonuses and stuff. And I think I got pretty. I feel like looking back at the game and kind of as how the game progressed, I was like, I must have gotten like pretty lucky with the cards that I ended up getting and stuff at the time because I was able to like just lay down like a bunch of cards all at once, and then I got to the point where I don't know how I just kept having all these resources, and I just never felt like I was going to run low on them. And
Mm,
I
yeah.
was to the point where I was like, I want to play more cards, but there's nothing I can do to just play more and more.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know that that'll always be the experience. I think I might have just kind of a little bit lucked it my way into some of that, but I really enjoyed the mechanisms of this one as well. Um, yeah, ooh, is it better? Oh boy.
I'd put it maybe right behind Botanicus, I think.
Oh. I would
Botanicus.
probably put it like third. It is a heavier game. You see that 82 minutes, so it is a little bit on the heavier side. But I enjoyed it quite a bit and would look forward to trying it again to see kind of how differently it plays. I could see this playing very differently if we played it again. But yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It's a nice little mouse theme, like the mouse meeples. Got to get maybe a physical copy of this one. We don't know. Maybe,
Maybe, maybe. Oh boy.
maybe not. We got a lot of Euros that
He likes
original.
anything with cheese in it.
But then for our final game of these 10, we've got Survive the Island, which I think Pepper you had played before.
I have played before. Do you know the circumstances of which I played before?
I do not, but I feel like this was one that you talked about before, and then you finally asked me if I wanted to play it, and I'm like, oh boy. And I think I thought this was. I think there was another game kind of like this. Is there another one, or is that the same game that I'm thinking of?
I think they're kind of the same type of game. It's just been
Okay.
remade multiple times. I played an old one. I could survive, escape from islands, whatever island. And that's what I played on Tabletopia. I was really excited about it. The opponent quit. I don't know if they knew the game, and didn't actually get to play it. So that's my experience with a game that I wanted to play. Because the concept, escaping this island that's crumbling apart, you're trying to swim, avoid monsters, send the monsters towards your opponents, hoping to hit their secret valued workers, hoping to take out some of their high value ones based on how they are treating them themselves. Try to figure that kind of stuff out. It's one that's felt right up my alley, and finally played it here. Excited as on BGA. I think it might have been on my list for games to play on Board Game Arena at the start of the year. And this one, I'd say, lived up to it for the wild type of gameplay that I was hoping to get out of it. It a lot of luck, and I think it went heavily in my favor in the game. You couldn't seem to catch a break in this one.
Yeah, I had a few bad things happen, and I felt like, yeah, just the way the die was rolling and stuff some of the times, and the tiles you were getting versus the one I was. I mean, I was taking out some of your guys, luckily, because I would like pull the tiles from your guys, and then it'd be a shark, and it would eat them,
Yeah.
which was good for me. But I don't know that that was actually really getting rid of. Unfortunately, it wasn't really getting rid of any of your big ones. I mean, I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, it didn't really hurt you that badly because I
Yeah.
feel like in this game you're not going to get everyone out.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some casualties, and yeah, so it unfortunately didn't do that. Whereas the times you hit me, you got me pretty good, got me pretty good, and then the game kind of ended before I was able to maybe make a little bit of a last push. I still would have probably lost by quite a bit. But yeah, I think that was the only thing with the game was I was like, unless I got some things to really go my way, some dice rolls, I knew I was pretty much out of it. About
Yeah.
probably halfway-ish through, just because of my own mistakes that I'd made early on and a couple bad things that happened for me. But
Yeah.
I still really liked what was happening in the game, and I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah.
So I think this one would probably be like the five or six for me. I think it'd end up
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle there because yeah, I'd definitely play this one again, but um, yeah, definitely a heavy luck factor in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, where does it fall for me? So I got like sea salt, Orapa, I think I had Botanicus in there up near the top. I'd say this could maybe be four, maybe number four or five for me. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It makes me think a lot of Downfall of Pompeii,
Oh, yeah.
where you kind of we had them kind of according to the algorithm kind of sorted out evenly on the map, but you can put them out manually and know where you're putting your fives, where you're putting your ones. There's also an option to play where you don't know what values that you have in the certain places, and also where you know everyone's values. So a lot of different ways to play this, but so yeah, kind of similar. You're putting them in there, and you're also trying to get them out. I obviously I have to play this one more, but it feels surprisingly quite a bit different while quite a bit the same at the same time, and pretty different for being kind of the same thing. Places being destroyed, places tiles are going away, and kind of stalking you, trying to take you out. Your opponents are trying to take you out. But they feel quite a bit different. I don't know which I'm gonna end up preferring of the two after I play this one some more. I could see this fresh new thing being maybe the preference for me.
Ooh.
But that
Oh
one's so
boy.
classic.
That's fighting words with Mac. We might have to get Mac to try this one just to see what she thinks about it. Because yeah, I would agree that there are a decent amount of similarities, but at the same time, I didn't quite feel like we were playing the same game
Yeah,
as that. So might be able to have both.
yeah, maybe. We'll see what Max says about that. You get to control Godzilla pretty much in here, so she's become a big fan of Godzilla the past year or two, so
So that might help.
it might win it over.
Uh, it definitely helped me. I think having those monsters in there, controlling monsters in games is almost always fun, except when they're used against you. Then it's not quite as fun. But yeah, those are the 10 games we looked at this time on Board Game Arena. Let us know in the comments below what you think of these games, if you played physical copies of them, and if you think, well, Board Game Arena can't even live up close to what it's like in real life. Um, or let us know if there are some games you'd like to see us play, or any that you really like on Board Game Arena. Maybe we'd try them out if we haven't played them already. Yeah, we're always looking for good ones on here to learn, especially if they have a tutorial. I think that's one of the big things with Board Game Arena is it has a lot of great tutorials, and it makes it very easy to learn the games because kind of alongside that, it has if you've never played on Board Game Arena before, it kind of has all the moves and stuff kind of programmed in a way. I think it would be the way to say it.
Yeah, it's a
So
lot
it
more
doesn't allow
like
you to do illegal things.
yeah, it's a lot more like an app of a game
Mhm.
versus like Tabletopia and what is it, Tabletop Simulator, where I think a lot of those it's like you're at a tabletop. You're moving it, you're managing the whole game and all the effects. This one, it manages all the effects for you. So
Mhm. But yeah, if you liked it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for future content, and as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.